So in the last video, I showed you how to create a custom Ply feature with a custom workflow by hitting Command Shift J or Command Shift K or whatever extension whatever shortcut you set up on your browser from being with any window within your browser. This week, I'm going to show you how you can actually install a button in your Gmail to do something very similar or exactly the same. And you can also grab like context from your actual email. So let's take a look how you do that. So I have Ply installed as a Chrome extension on my browser. I'm going to hit Create Add-on. And again, in this use case, we're going to add it into Gmail. So I'm already in Gmail. It wants a connection. So again, works. Essentially, it has an API to the backend tool that you're using, but it also works on your Chrome as a Chrome extension. So it has the UI element, but also has the API element, if that makes sense. We're gonna do over here, add a button to a thread, but you can see you have all these different options. You can add button to a message, to the compose section, etc. I'm gonna add a button to the thread, which means when I'm in an email thread, I will have this button, and I'm gonna click over here to create this button, and let's give it this like warning sign, give it color purple. You can call it whatever you want and so forth. That's just the design. Now we're up to, hey, let's design the workflow. So in the workflow, automatically, again, the workflow starts, but it gets triggered when I click display button. And then automatically, because I'm triggering it from an email thread, it gets the contextual thread. Now, for example, I can go ahead and add an interface. Let's move this out over here. I can, for example, add an interface. And let's say I have a text input or a rich, actually, let's do a rich text input. I'm going to delete this. We're going to do a rich text input. And so say it's long text. Now, again, like I showed, if you haven't watched the last video, I recommend you watch it. But the idea is you can basically, type text and then maybe feed it to an Airtable or HubSpot or whatever other product you want, feed it to a Slack. You can map it to a specific field. You also have the option, so this will allow me to basically, when I trigger the feature, to type something in. However, I can also pre-fill it with something. And pre-fill doesn't mean I can't type in, it just means that it comes pre-filled, plus I can type in. Then when I'm pre-filling, what am I pre-filling from? So I can get contextual, the thread contextual, and I can get like the full body, for example. I can get the name of the person who sent it, the name of the receiver, their email address. I can get the subject. So let's just say for here, I want the body of the email. So I'm going to search for body. And here, I believe this is going to be it. Okay, there we go. So if you take a look over here, this literally pulled in the entire thread and it's pulling in the thread as an example, right? So I understand what I'm doing. And let's say body. So we're going to label this body. You'll understand, you might be lost right now what I'm doing, but you'll understand this in a moment. Let me now go ahead and add another, let's just do text input. We're going to pre-fill this, get contextual from the thread. We're going to fill it from the subject. I love Ply. I'll call this subject. And I can get, let's say here, I can get an email field, email input, call it email, pre-fill it with contextual from boom. And I can even have a name. So I can put in another text, call this name. We can pre-fill this textual name. Boom. So check this out. We now have, and I can reorder this obviously. So here I can put like, on the top, I can move around, like I can put name, then email, move the subject down, and move the actual email down. Okay, so now we have name, email, subject, body. And we can say email info. Okay, run to create sample data. This doesn't mean I can't add more information. I could definitely add more information. However, it's already pre-filling, grabbing from the email where I triggered this button so that I have information pre-filled and I don't have to type. Now I can, for example, send a Slack message with the summary of this email. So I can send a Slack message. I didn't authenticate my Slack, but technically I can like send a message and send a digest of this email that just happened. I can also log this email to my HubSpot or my Airtable, and I can even like search for the appropriate contact based on the email or name and map it automatically. But I just wanted to show this to you so that here, I'm going to delete this step and let's see if we can even publish this. Just wanted to show this so that you can understand the concept that not only can you trigger a apply workflow from a specific email by hitting the button as opposed to automatically running all the time, and not only can you like actually type in specific information to send to your workflow, you can also, now I have this button when I'm in any thread within my inbox. And when I hit this button, I get information already pre-filled from the email, as opposed to having to type in, for example, like the email, the name, etc. And then again, I can move. The next step in this workflow can be sending this elsewhere. So hopefully this was helpful and understandable and not too confusing. And I'd love to hear from you the types of workflows you're thinking. Again, think of email as like an example. You can embed these buttons within Airtable, SmartSuite, HubSpot, Shopify. I mean, anywhere, right? Would love to hear what type of workflows you're thinking through. And if you share a workflow in the comment section below, I can try to record a future video about it.